Purpose Coach, and today we're going to talk about self-worth. Do you know what you're worth? Your self-worth is the value you give yourself. It's how much value you give yourself. Now, it is not determined by others, or it's not also determined by how much you have achieved in life or any of those sorts. It's only determined from within. But we often forget this, and we put our self-worth in our external factors, in the things that are outside us. Okay, and these are usually your bank balance, the amount of followers you have, your relationship status, all these things. If you have a house, if you don't have a house, right? So we indirectly are putting a self-worth on ourselves, depending on the things that are external. But the thing is, your self-worth is not determined by these things. Your self-worth is not determined by your relationship status. It is not determined by the amount of money you have in your bank account. It is not determined by the amount of followers you have, the amount of likes you get, the amount of land you have, houses you have. It's not determined by these things. It's something that you come up with within. It's how much you value yourself. It's as simple as that. But here's what happens, okay? We often put our self-worth from the external factors in our life, and we're doing this unconsciously. So we are constantly determining what our worth is by the things that are happening in our life. So that could be if you got a really good job, right? Or if you got a really bad job, or if you got kicked out of a job. Now, all these three things have three different meanings to it, and you put three different self-worths attached to these three scenarios. Just imagine you suddenly got kicked out of your job. What would that mean? And now imagine if you suddenly got a huge raise in your job. You see how we automatically are putting meanings to ourselves attached to these situations, right? In the one where you get a huge raise, you automatically put a meaning that, oh my God, I think I've done really good, right? I think I am now worthy of this raise. And the same thing goes if you have been kicked out of your job. Right? You automatically put a meaning saying, oh, I think they don't find me worthy of this, and I might actually not be. I might have actually screwed up something. You see how we're attaching everything to our worth. And the same goes with like your personal life, your relationships. If you're being attracting really horrible relationships, you probably put a self-worth attached to that, saying that maybe you're not good enough to attract good people into your life, or maybe you're not good enough for a good relationship, right? And the same thing goes if it's a really good relationship. We are attaching these meanings to them. But I'm here to tell you that your self-worth is not determined by these areas in your life. All these are the external areas. Your self-worth is only determined by you, and nobody else can determine it. So it's the worth that you are putting on yourself. Now, thinking about it in this angle and this way, what self-worth do you have? What value do you want to put on your self-worth? Think about these things, okay? Here's how you determine the value, okay? You dictate the standard. You set a standard of what you're worth and what you're not worth, okay? So you set a standard of, I am not gonna accept anything, any situation below this particular standard. I am only going to accept things above this. Now, the one dictating what that this is just you. So only you determine if you are worthy of something or not worthy of it. There is nobody else determining these factors. So here's something you can do, all right? Write these things down. Write down how valuable you are. And remember, only you are determining your value. Okay? And I want you to write down things in regards to your within, rather than to your external situations, rather than your appearance or the job that you have or the relationship you have. Keeping all that aside, how valuable are you? You need to state that out. Okay? And obviously, I want you to state things which are here and not here. And what I mean by that is, I want you to see yourself as a very valuable person. Just because you're here, you're alive, you're valuable. And that is an enough reason to consider yourself to be valuable. And what happens next is how you treat yourself, how valuable you see yourself to be. The world responds to that. You set your standard and not the world around you. It has to always start with you. So when you start treating yourself as the valuable human being that you are, the world starts treating you in that way as well. That's the small thing that makes the difference in your worth. So start valuing yourself to what it actually is, and stop limiting yourself to a very, very low value, which you've probably been doing unconsciously until now. Awesome. So that's all I have to talk about self-worth. I would love to hear from you if you have something to add to this. And if you have any questions, do let me know. And until next time, bye.